Let's start with a very simple fact. There's no such thing as an alpha male.
Oh my God, that's the scariest thing I've ever seen.
It's a false myth, with no basis in biology or science. That fact, however, hasn't stopped the pseudoscience behind a dominance hierarchy among men from spreading like a virus through our media culture.
Becoming an alpha male means that without saying a word, you're able to project confidence and sexuality simply through your body language.
While you'd expect to hear the term from performatively macho grifters who prey on the insecurities of young men.
Okay, I already disagree with this video because I am an alpha male.
Are put on this earth to hunt women. And even though women deny it, they want to be hunted. They need it. It's part of our biological imperative as animals.
The alpha male myth is also commonly invoked in popular movies.
We all big guys. The three of us. Alphas.
Television shows.
In the information age, Sheldon, you and I are the alpha males.
And children's media.
You're not the alpha. I'm the alpha.
No, I'm the alpha.
Can you imagine if we ever lived in a world where Big Bang Theory was not the most popular show in America?
So rather than spend our time analyzing these screeds of creepy pickup artists or reactionary influencers, in this video, we will instead examine the alpha male myth as filtered through Hollywood, focusing on how mainstream pop culture, often inadvertently, primes young men to embrace a fictional form of predatory manhood. First things first, we need to start by reiterating that the myth of the alpha male has been thoroughly debunked.
Every alpha male being like, actually, this is wrong. How could it be debunked when I'm an alpha male? My very existence defies this myth debunking that you so speak of. I think it was You're Wrong About. They had a podcast episode. I'm pretty sure they did. Alpha males, you're wrong about. Yeah. Very good episode.
Alpha male dates back to studies of wolves in zoos from the 1940s and 50s. But the concept didn't really take off in the public imagination until a few decades later, when biologist David Misch published a book entitled The Wolf. It quickly became a bestseller, but the underlying research was deeply flawed. Those old studies of wolves in captive environments seemed to show males viciously competing for dominance until one took over as leader and the others submitted to his rule. Researchers at the time,
Bella, where you been, Loca?
dubbed the most aggressive wolf the alpha male,
Beast of the wild.
and mistakenly concluded that fighting for dominance
cares about alpha males when
must
we've got
be
omega
natural
males? Straight up.
wolf pack behavior. Turns out they were wrong.
The hell you been,
Wolves living
Loca?
in the wild don't employ dominance-based hierarchies, and they don't engage in a vicious competition to dominate other members of their own group.
What?
Wolf packs in the
What? But some guy with an AI profile photo on Twitter told me that alpha males are real. It's called Sigma grind set, bruh.
wild are actually family units. Pack leaders are just parents raising their offspring.
What is
Researchers
this
now
woke
refer to
wolf
them
shit?
as the breeding pair. Wolves are, of course, a predator species, but they're also remarkably loving and playful creatures within their packs. It's only within the unnatural environment of captivity, where a bunch of animals from unrelated packs are forced into close proximity, that we see unnaturally aggressive behaviors emerge.
No, you mean when humans imprison animals, take them out of their natural environments, their behavior will change? That it will not be how they naturally exist in the wild? You mean when we've locked them up, when we've ripped them out of their habitats? What? You don't say. Picture of a snail. Thank you for the 23 months.
A similar phenomenon occurs with human beings when trapped inside of prison environments.
know, that collar looks good on you.
Yeah, look a whole hell of a lot better with your blood on it.
Yeah, good luck with that, Hercules.
And when you really think about
God,
it,
these movies
the
are
alpha
so
male
drama.
myth obviously makes no sense. Because a pack of animals that's constantly fighting with each other would have a much lower chance of survival in the wild.
Violent displays of dominance and submission are common in every pack, reminding each member of his specific role. Blood is drawn, but
David Misch later admitted that his initial conclusions were wrong, and even tried to get publishers to stop printing his best-selling book. They refused, but it was too late anyway, because the myth of the alpha male had already become entrenched in popular culture.
Of course.
The trouble with wolves is that sometimes in the fight for dominance, one of them ends up...
It's always hilarious when a scientist will publish something and it's like, actually, I was wrong. Can I take it back? And popular culture is like, nope, too late. Sorry, no take-backs. That's it, that's all. This is too deeply ingrained now within popular culture that we will not be making any amendment. Same thing happened with sharks. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about that when we watched Jaws, but there's a lot that has a lot of truths about just name anything. I mean, honestly, a lot of truths that have just become distorted or dramatized to the point that because of the influences in pop culture, people have genuinely been, like, the masses have genuinely been misled on, because their only experience and understanding of, say, sharks or wolves is how they are depicted in popular culture. So it's like, if all you know of sharks are shark movies, then yeah, you're gonna think that, like, every time you step in the water, a shark is gonna try to eat you. That sharks are like the most these apex dangerous predators. But have you considered what the dog doing? You know what? It's real to me. It's real to me. That's how we get so many idiotic conspiracy theorists. People don't understand how science works. They think that anytime someone makes a correction or retraction of a previous conclusion, it means they're lying or they're wrong. They're like, no, once you've already said it, that's it, okay? And if you try to take it back, I'm going to call you woke. I'm going to call you a liar. You know what it is, too, is that a lot of times things are just not as interesting as they are depicted in movies and in the media. That's the truth. It's like, oh, this thing that's actually not that dramatic and not that dramatic and not that like horrifying or whatever. It just it induces a very emotional response. And it's why often fiction replaces reality, because it's more interesting.
Dead.
In that case, the trick is...
Let me tell you, being a librarian is not that sexy. You mean librarians all don't look like the prototypical librarian in a 2000s horny teen film?
To be the wolf that's still standing at the end.
From there, the alpha male myth was quickly misapplied to all other animal species.
How dare you?
Including apes and even dinosaurs. And then finally, misapplied to human nature writ large.
Who's the alpha?
You're looking at him, kid.
At this point, I think it's helpful to pause and define what is generally meant when someone uses the term alpha male today.
It's about pure, unchecked, uncompromised, testosterone-driven male power.
John, didn't I ask you to line the garbage pails?
And you lied to your damn self, woman!
What?
The myth falsely asserts that there exists a biological dominance hierarchy in human society. One in which men are meant to control women and compete with each other for power and status.
One of these men!
Right, and this is the whole concept of like men do things to impress other men because women are not competing as alpha males. It's only men. It's like, oh, as a guy, I'm going to buy all these bottles and send it to this other table where another guy is. Not because I'm trying to impress women, but because I'm trying to impress this dude. I'm trying to establish my dominance because we're out here in the wilderness and we're competing to be the alpha male.
Will be the alpha male after tonight.
Mark, I would have stopped 9/11 Wahlberg. That's right.
It's a
That's right.
zero-sum mentality in which everyone is reduced to either predator or
He
prey.
would have.
You got to decide whether you're a wolf
But I guess we'll never know.
or a sheep.
According to this worldview, the most aggressive, intimidating, and controlling men should be celebrated as alphas, while any man who expresses emotional vulnerability, practices caregiving, or favors de-escalation can be denigrated as a beta male.
You gotta be alpha. Stop all this beta male stuff.
Which is, by the way, another completely made-up term.
Do you know what I love about pop culture detective videos? Is that you know how often the subject, so whatever the subject of his video is, you know how like often it is depicted in popular culture, but you really realize how present it is, how it is. There's just endless examples to pull from watching one of his videos. You're like, oh, damn.
I mean, why the alpha dog? You can just be a little tiny poodle.
While half the internet seems to wholeheartedly believe in sorting men into various categories based on the Greek alphabet,
I am the alpha dog.
the other half delights in dunking on the absurdity of that belief. But as should be evident by now, simply making fun of something doesn't automatically mean it loses its power in society. So let's take a closer look at how the alpha male myth has spread through culture.
Dad hasn't turned Lucky against you. The dog just listens to him because he's the alpha male.
No what?
The boss, numero uno. Lucky has to follow Dad. It's nature.
I must establish my dominance and show code.
Wait. Doesn't that kid voice not Gumdrop? What's the other fucking animated show? Oh wait, what was the show by not Rick and Morty? Or I didn't mean Gumdrop, Gumball. Solar Opposites, yes. I think he's one of the voices in that.
Coco, who the new alpha is.
Since wolves and dogs are evolutionarily related, the false dominance hierarchy myth has also had a negative impact on dog training.
Okay, I am establishing, watch me, I am establishing dominance.
Pet training charlatans like Cesar Millan have become famous using widely discredited domination-based
Oh my god, I remember this
techniques,
episode of Bones.
Dog whisperer.
which have their roots in the alpha male myth.
Maybe you need to establish yourself as the alpha. Growl back at him.
Not only is the idea that you need to establish dominance.
Who does Farley respond to, me or Will? I am his mother. What do you think the answer is?
Over your dog, complete nonsense. It can also be abusive.
Just do it. Just kick him. It's the only way he'll respect you. Dominating. Kick him.
Right. Did you just kick that dog? I was dominating him.
While it is possible to traumatize an animal into doing what you want, it's both immoral and also not nearly as effective as reward-based training.
Give her a try.
Thankfully, those punitive...
Guess I'll be Googling Cesar Millan charlatan. Oh, I mean, that has been years and years of accusations that Cesar Millan is a fraud. Like, that's nothing new.
Punitive, fear-based training models are now falling out of favor.
Dominance
Are
established.
you guys doing the thing the video is talking about as we watch it?
You
Yes.
mind your own call.
Unfortunately, when it comes to human masculinity, the alpha male myth is as popular as ever, Its poisonous effect on our culture continues unabated.
What was that? I'm a man, Peter. I've got an ocean of testosterone flowing through my veins. Society tells us to act civilized, but the truth is we're animals, and sometimes you gotta let it out.
Despite being thoroughly debunked, Hollywood writers continue to employ the alpha male concept in their scripts.
Oh my back.
Largely because it offers a fast and convenient way to ratchet up conflict in a story.
Good boy.
Though, depending on the genre, it is framed in different ways.
He appears to be a follower of the manosphere.
Oh, God.
Real and...
Wait, is this? Hold on a second. This is a Criminal Minds episode from 2005? Hold on a second. What episode is this from? Wait, someone figure this out.
Story.
Good boy.
Though, depending on the genre, it is framed in different ways.
He appears to be a follower of the manosphere, a real and often disturbing corner of the internet.
In crime dramas,
Wait, this is a recent episode? Okay, he just has the date. See, he has Criminal Minds 2005. So I got confused. I mean, I know the show's been going for 100 years, but I'm like, I'm sorry. There was an episode. Is Criminal Minds like clairvoyant? That just kind of threw me for a loop for a second. What episode is this from? Because I used to watch Criminal Minds, but I haven't watched in a long time. Does anybody know? Does anyone know what episode of Criminal Minds? Okay. You mean it's from the episode titled Alpha Male? Okay. You don't say. Denied bail for being deemed a possible flight risk, Reed is sent to a correctional facility in the general population for holding instead of in protective custody in the overcrowded jail. Reed's predicament, which places him at risk, may not be an accident. He receives some unexpected advice on survival on the inside. Meanwhile, the rest of the team is called to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where in two separate incidents, half an hour apart, two 20-somethings, a male and a female, were doused in the face with acid. These incidents follow two other closely timed acid dousings 1 week prior, also of a 20-something male and female. One of the three victims is the team is able to interview. They all state that their attacker was a male wearing an overcoat and a baseball cap and uttered something in a foreign language just prior to the attack. Classic foreign language. In determining those foreign words, the team is able to track the direct source of the unsub's rage to a website for lonely singles, the outsiders who see themselves as good, if not better than the alpha males who seem to get the women. The website posts photos of alpha males and bitches, the victims who very much so look very much like the photos on the website. Ultimately, the team is able to identify the unsub who they know is planning a mass attack. They just have to find out when and where before it happens. Yeah, remember you guys, the manosphere is not something that popped up in the last year. It's just that the mainstream media have been nonstop reporting on it because of... One, it's like they all figured the same thing out at the same time. But two, because of the influence that the manosphere, podcasters, etc., had on this recent election. So Donald Trump had at his election night party Aiden Ross, the Nelk Boys, etc., or like he shouted them out. Theo Vaughn was there. Joe Rogan was there. And so the media is like, oh, we got to write about the manosphere. And they all started writing at the same time. There was an episode of Law & Order SVU where this guy attacked girls and would call them Stacy and like insult guys by calling them Chad. Hey, Chad. 2005, the episode called Paul Thomas was about pickup artists. The episode called Paul Thomas. I remember that episode because I watched early Criminal Minds. Okay, wait. What was I looking at? Yeah, we were looking at this. Wait, there was one other thing I was going to say. Oh, yes. The thing I was going to say is, so one thing that speaking of the Tate brothers, Sia charged with rape and trafficking. They really are collecting rape and sex trafficking charges like Infinity Stones. Goodbye. I hope please, can they rot in prison, and can we never ever have to deal with them ever fucking again? Okay? They have so many charges against them. There is so much evidence against them. Can they be convicted and then go away forever? Please. But anyway, what I was going to say is one tenet of manosphere in like alpha male, sigma grind set, manosphere beliefs, right? Like what's part of the Constitution is that men, young men, old men, average men, not everyone's gonna be a billionaire, okay? You're not gonna be a billionaire, but you can still be a man. Capital M man. You can still be a domineering, imposing figure. You can be respected. You can have this great life because these are the commandments you need to follow, and it largely involves dominating women. Okay? As long as you subjugate women, then you will be a man. And so the whole alpha male, right? The alpha male mentality, it's like, this is the most important thing as a man, to remember that you need to go out there and be dominant, and that's the most important thing you can do as a man, and then you will be satisfied. You will be fulfilled. That's what you should do. And if you're unhappy, if you're lonely, if you're sad, it's because you're not doing these things to be a man.
It's often invoked as a possible motivation for an especially heinous crime committed by the bad guy of the week.
He sees himself as a catch, a true alpha male who has been overlooked by women and is superior to the men they choose over him.
Mathers was the submissive. His partner is the alpha male.
Sexual sadism can go hand in hand with sexual dysfunction.
Like he's playing God. More like the way you treat a dog. He's an alpha male, making her completely dependent, which is why he targeted the same woman twice.
Many police procedurals have one sensationalized, very special episode dedicated to the shocking discovery of the manosphere.
Found this hater online. He's one of those men's rights movement guys.
I did.
It's one of the funniest like template for, you know how all these crime shows, they're all procedural, well, like procedural crime shows. There's a procedure they follow. But yes, the discovering the alpha male serial killer, discovering the manosphere, whether it's Ice-T doing it or whoever else, like that is a thing in crime shows. Putting the computer down and being like, look what I found. Look what I found on this guy's Tumblr. And it's all pictures of him, like, I don't know. They're like, look at these images. He's having sex with a wolf. What do you think this means? Have you watched Interior Chinatown? I haven't watched it yet, but I have read the book.
Some digging around in the manosphere.
Manosphere on Tumblr? You know
This
it.
is the manosphere. It's the home for everyone who hates women.
These type of storylines tend to frame the
Look,
alpha.
I Ice-T would find the manosphere on Tumblr, okay? Ice-T would do it.
Male myth as the bizarre fringe belief of serial killers, when in actuality, it's an extraordinarily common worldview held by a great many people.
Yeah, that's like such an insane notion that if you are as a misogynist, as a self-professed alpha male, as a member of the manosphere, you're a serial killer. That, like, if you are a serial killer, or if you are defined this way, then you are also a serial killer. Or, like, if you are a serial killer, it's because of these reasons. Rather than this just being something that normal, everyday men participate in.
Meanwhile, in comedies and sitcoms, the term is usually mined for humor.
When I fail to open this jar and you succeed, it will establish you as the alpha male.
What up?
Go ahead, it's pre-loosened.
Wait, what? You just said that so loud. I said it so loud. I'm sorry, I cannot hear. Huh? I don't know. I put it somewhere. I'm sorry. It's like how they only depict racists as literal KKK members. Yes, it's like here is on the extreme end of racism. He's part of the Klan. Yeah, that's such a good it's such a good analogy where it's like he's racist because he's part of the Klan. Or like just we need someone whose motivation is racism, so they also have to be part of the Klan.
Though it should be noted, the punchlines are typically made at the expense of men who are deemed too weak or effeminate to be considered a true alpha.
Hey, Chell.
Mr. Gable, please, there's no need for a scene. Obviously, we are both alpha males. It's because alpha...
Oh, you mean that the constrictions on men are coming from other men? You mean that men feeling emasculated, that they feeling challenged are because of other men? Is that a reenactment of that guy on the whatever podcast failing to open the jar? I know exactly what you're talking about. No, because Big Bang came before. So maybe the guy on the whatever podcast failing to open the jar had been reenacting Big Bang Theory. Jacob, thank you for the 30 months.
Males,
I'll be right back.
like us.
I'm a strong alpha.
No, yeah, exactly.
It's in every gal's nature to want to nest with an alpha male.
The same joke is repeated over and over and over ad nauseum.
I'm submitting to its strength. It's the alpha.
You'll notice that even when employed humorously, the validity of the underlying concept is rarely called into question.
You're gonna have to start acting like the alpha dog.
Right. Alpha dog. I can do that.
Okay,
Please
okay,
don't go.
later.
Wait, no, wait,
Look.
The myth is especially prevalent in talking animal movies, wherein animals act as stand-ins for people, and thus behave in distinctly human ways.
You listen to us and we turn you into an alpha male.
I don't know. Who's the alpha line?
You are.
Don't you forget it.
It's particularly popular in stories featuring anthropomorphized dogs or wolves.
It's the alpha.
Bosco, alpha male who runs the park. He's the toughest dog around.
What about an alpha giraffe? Yeah.
He doesn't look that tough.
Yes, alpha. Alpha? I am not alpha. He is... Oh.
Science fiction and fantasy writers often use the myth as a lazy template for the social structures of their mythological creatures.
Oh my
Be
god,
it
I
vampires,
forgot about this movie.
Aliens, zombies, werewolves, of course, and even Godzilla.
All packs, from wolves to killer whales, they all respond directly to an alpha.
Wouldn't it be so funny? Do you know what I want? Please, can we get a scene in a movie like Godzilla King of the Monsters where you have Coach being like, listen, he says exactly what he said here. Okay, I'll just run it back.
Wolves to killer whales, they all respond directly to an alpha.
Regardless
And then it just comes to a screeching halt and there's one person in the back like, Excuse me. Actually, scientifically, that's untrue. And it just kills the entire... It kills all the drama. Like, the music comes to an end. Like, there's everyone who's like, oh, yes. And then they turn and they're like, oh, okay. Who invited them? Nerd, actually. Yeah, the nerd who kills the momentum. Sorry, it's my first day here. Hi, everyone. My name is Greg. Just started here. Really excited to be here. But actually, I just have to say that's actually not true. It's actually, well, sorry to be that guy. Sorry. Yeah, Caroline ruins it. Actually, that's literally Adam ruins everything. That is the just premise of Adam ruins everything.
Of the context or target demographic. Most entertainment continues to treat the pseudoscience behind a natural dominance hierarchy in society as a valid concept, when it's not.
Renee Rapp, the only good part of Mean Girls.
Whenever this topic is discussed, someone will bring up chimpanzees. But the notion that chimps employ a strict dominance-based hierarchy where the most aggressive alpha males naturally rise to the top is also a myth. That false idea is rooted in those same studies of wolves in captive environments that we talked about earlier, and was popularized by another best-selling book in the 1980s called Chimpanzee Politics. The author of that book has also since disavowed his initial conclusions and now spends his time trying to undo the damage that book caused.
Doesn't matter.
In reality, troops of chimpanzees in the wild actually employ relatively complex political structures. While it is possible for leaders to gain power through aggression, those troops tend to be highly unstable. The more stable and lasting chimp societies have leaders who maintain their position through a variety of political strategies, including alliance building, demonstrating empathy, peacemaking, and grooming. That being said, it's important to underscore that we should always be extremely wary of anyone claiming that animal behavior can be neatly mapped onto human society.
See, look, it says here wolves are independent.
Yep.
Hyper-focused.
Like a laser.
Detail-oriented.
Nothing too small, baby.
And have a healthy disrespect for authority.
And there it is. I'm a wolf from snout to rump. Don't get these hackles up, or you'll get the fangs.
Human beings are far more complex and varied than wolves or monkeys or lions or lobsters or whatever.
Oh, you guys! I'm just an ordinary alpha lobster doing his job.
The idea that there exists a natural order where the strong are naturally meant to dominate the weak is just a convenient excuse for men's antisocial behavior.
No! Ooh, no!
That underlying fallacy of a naturally occurring hierarchy also helps explain the cultural resilience of the alpha male myth.
It's nature. Males are forced to fight, to dominate, and to impregnate all females.
Since this worldview elevates men's ability and willingness to dominate others, it's not surprising that conservatives, neo-reactionaries, fascists, and authoritarians of all stripes embrace the alpha-beta myth so completely, as it seems to add.
Have you ever seen Fight Club? Because that's like the movie of all movies, Fight Club. If Fight Club isn't your favorite movie, then it's because you're soy. It's because you're weak.
Add legitimacy to their pre-existing chauvinist and supremacist ideologies.
But today, you become a man.
And here's where all of this gets very dangerous very quickly. Underneath all the bluster and doublespeak, imposing a strict dominance hierarchy on society is the ultimate goal of all right-wing movements.
Yeah, so here's the thing, okay? The alpha male myth being pervasive in society, right? Being perpetuated and nonstop repeated by mass media, it being found in every corner of pop culture. It's not a bad thing until you run into the problem of the myth of it being used as an excuse by really awful people to perpetuate the awful things that they are doing and the awful beliefs that they are using the myth of alpha males as an excuse to believe in, right? It is very convenient for fascists to behave the way that they do, as long as they can point to the myth of the alpha male and say, see, it's science. It's like, oh, I thought you guys didn't believe in science. Oh, wait, hold on a second. What? Oh, I forgot. It's science that you will twist and distort because it fits your view. It benefits you. And it's the effects on other men, the effects on men and women of the alpha male myth are harmful. Like, it's not just women who are affected by the men who operate in this world as alpha males. It's also other men who then feel emasculated, who feel belittled, who are isolated, etc., because they are treated as betas, because they are labeled as the non-alphas, and therefore they are lower on the totem pole. Yes. So it's a pervasive, insidious undercurrent. Right. So it's not just, okay, well, it's in a bunch of movies, etc. It's like, no, these are beliefs that have, because they are perpetuated by mass media, they are pervasive within our society. They say Patrick Bateman, the killer from American Psycho, who's literally a psychopath, as an alpha male. They're like, yeah, that's my king. Goals. Patrick Bateman, goals. Making thirst TikToks.
Are we the baddies?
In a reactionary worldview, men are taught to see themselves as carnivorous predators. The wolf is a curious choice for an avatar of masculinity, because wolves have been consistently demonized in popular culture.
Wolves?
It's ironic that special effects must be employed to make these animals appear much more aggressive than they actually are.
The wolves are actually incredibly friendly, so we put the dots in sort of specific points on their face, so then later on our visual effects vendor can use the dots to track in CG wolf face and making them look mean.
With the one exception of The Jungle Book, Disney animated films in particular have a long history of presenting wolves as vicious and bloodthirsty.
I mean, honestly, that's one thing Maya's been doing with her, with Alveus, because she has the wolf enclosure. She's been doing a lot of educational content around wolves because of the pervasive myth that they are dangerous creatures, that they will kill. It's kill or be killed. And that's, one reason that she has these wolves now, as part of her conservation efforts, is because there is a lot of truths around wolves that have been lost or that have been distorted because of popular culture.
What are they?
Wolves.
Wolves?
They're depicted as evil incarnate, hiding in the shadows, lying in wait for any person who strays off the path.
Make no mistake, wolves in the wild are dangerous. Okay, I guess let me pull back for a second. I think it's not that I'm saying that wolves cannot be dangerous. I think it's that the way wolves are, like so many other animals though, are depicted in popular culture are usually in the context of being these killing machines, right? Just these beasts that any wild animal is dangerous. Yeah, I mean, a fucking bird. Fucking bird in the wild, depending on the breed, might need to watch out for. That doesn't make them inherently oriented to violence and warrant unconditional fear of them. That's what I think it is. It's like the fear of these animals, because the only depictions you've seen of them are as these like villainous creatures in animated films, or at the center of horror franchise. A lot of the myths around wolves stem back to when people feared wolves killing their livestock. Yeah, that's true.
While inaccurate,
If not friend,
that
why
image
friend
of the
shade?
wolf as a monstrous
Why friend
creature
shade?
remains entrenched in the public mind.
You're afraid because I'm the big bad wolf. Well, I'm not surprised. I am the villain in every story.
So why would so many men in real life want to self-identify with the villain from a fairy tale? It may seem a little counterintuitive. That is, until we analyze the phenomenon in the larger context of what Bell Hooks calls the Dominator model of masculinity.
Okay, Bell Hooks.
The Dominator model is a particular type of male power fantasy that hinges on control. Control over women, over children, and over other men. In this model, the alpha male is the ultimate authority figure. In her essential book, The Will to Change, Men, Masculinity, and Love, Bell Hooks explains the authority figure is deemed ruler over those without power, and given the right to maintain that rule.
Why does the movie look like that? Why does the movie look like how our photos on Instagram looked in 2012, where they're so heavily filtered? Very good question. If you've ever seen 300, it is the most bizarrely overexposed, blown out editing. It's because Zack Snyder, I guess,
through practices of subjugation, subordination, and submission. In a dominance culture like ours, the alpha male fantasy can
It's
be
very
incredibly
over the top.
attractive to people of any gender.
Yeah, because it's manly, yo. Okay, that's why it looks that way. Because it's manly. Because there's testosterone pumping through the film.
I typically date like strong, confident alpha males. And that it did not come out right.
Cool.
But the myth is especially seductive for young heterosexual men who may feel isolated or unfulfilled in their daily lives. Storytellers have long been fascinated with narratives conflating human men and wild animals, especially wolves.
Wolfman is a tremendous source of strength for guys like me. He's strong, aloof, destined to live alone. He's his own man. He's his own wolf. He's his own wolf man.
Identifying with a monster
He wanted it
allows
to look like the
insecure men
comic.
to imagine themselves as
Well, it looked like
dangerous,
shit.
as sexually assertive, and therefore as powerful.
Oh, gross.
If true connection and community seems unattainable, and if men won't allow themselves to love or be loved in return, then at least they can be feared.
Yeah, come at me, bro!
In addition to the demand that men present themselves as intimidating and fiercely independent, dominance masculinity instructs men to hide their vulnerability.
Don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry.
And in doing so, sever their emotional connections to others. When we see these ideals reflected in media, the term alpha male typically isn't used. Nonetheless, representations of dominator masculinity are unmistakable.
Bald and bulky equals alpha male.
And remain the gold standard for men of action at the movies.
Back at the precinct, they call me Wolf.
Any man who is perceived as falling short of these directives risks being attacked as weak, as submissive, or worse, as feminine.
Oh, God forbid.
You established your alpha male stand.
When a man has lost his hair, he has nothing left to lose. The most dangerous creature. The most dangerous creature is a bald man.
You've established my unworthiness.
The alpha male worldview confuses confidence with bravado. As if being self-assured and being a decent, caring person are somehow mutually exclusive.
You son of a bitch.
What a Dwayne Johnson movies in this
If
video
men are constantly engaged in some form of hyper-competitive one-upmanship, it makes close male friendships all the more difficult to build and maintain.
There can only be one alpha male in a partnership.
Alpha male.
Yeah.
Dominant authority figure.
Yep.
Leader of the pack.
Problem is, we got ourselves a pack of two.
Operating within an alpha male framework actively undermines men's self-confidence.
What?
Let's go alpha.
That's exactly my point, because I'm obviously not beta.
When men are obsessed with dominance, it necessarily means
Honestly, like hearing terms that we see all over the internet, when you hear it in a different setting, like in a movie, and they're not trying to be, it's not satirical, it sounds so stupid. It's so cringe. It really is. It sounds dumb as shit.
they'll always be looking over their shoulder, always afraid that some other man might challenge their status and supplant them as king of the hill.
We should fight one another for the honor of leadership.
There can, after all, be only one top dog.
Yes.
Just kiss already.
You know, how is it when you put two alpha males together? Somebody's going to get killed.
The bottom line is
There's a video of a student trying to get out of a detention by saying he was the alpha. Wow, I bet that worked. I bet that worked.
In the Dominator model of manhood, men can never feel safe and secure. Quite the opposite. It makes men feel perpetually insecure about their position vis-a-vis other men.
This thing must be broken. It's totally broken, guys. It's like...
Man.
When applied to romantic relationships, the Dominator model of manhood results in catastrophe.
Sitting in front of us was this group of cute chicks eating popcorn. And Dutch started throwing milk duds at them.
What? Why would he do that?
Cause it's an alpha move, man. Babes love when you treat them like crap.
In the Dominator model, the pursuit of external power,
Babes
the
love when you
ability
treat
to
'em like
manipulate
crap.
and control
I actually love
others
Cobra Kai.
is what matters most. When culture is based on the Dominator model, not only will it be violent, but it will frame all relationships as power struggles.
In every relationship, there's an alpha and a beta.
And I'm the alpha. What? No, I'm the alpha. No, I am.
Jinx.
Since the alpha male worldview twists all relationships, both platonic and romantic, into a struggle for control, it's easy to see why the myth would be popular among creepy so-called pickup artists.
It's universal, man. It is evolutional. It is anthropological. It is biological. Oh, it is animal.
But the image they're drawing on of the hypersexual male wolf, popularized by old Tex Avery cartoons, couldn't be further from the truth.
Awooga!
In reality, male wolves are not widely promiscuous creatures with uncontrollable sexual appetites. Wolves are monogamous and bond for life. Wolf packs raise their pups together in balanced co-parenting partnerships, and they share most tasks, including hunting, patrolling territory, grooming, and caregiving.
So gentle, so kind.
Those pushing the alpha myth ignore this domestic reality of real-life wolves in favor of cynically playing on fears of men being trapped, caged, tamed, or domesticated by women.
No. See, you don't understand. It's not fear. It's just that we don't have a choice in the matter. We can't commit. It's something deep inside in that animal part of men that wants to keep us separate from the pack.
Right. Like your friend the wolf man.
Exactly. Okay, there's the perfect example.
Remember, the alpha male framework offers only two options for men when it comes to intimacy. They can either be dominant or submissive, either controlling or deferential, either a powerful wolf or a helpless bunny.
Men are the wolves.
You're either a wolf or you're a sheep.
And women are the fluffy bunnies. So we must prepare ourselves for the hunt.
Notice that this false dichotomy makes fulfilling equal partnerships
You are
all
either
but impossible.
You are either predator or you are prey. You are either eating or being eaten.
Guess who's not gonna fall under her spell? I'm gonna be all, drop the act, baby doll. Daddy needs a gin and tonic. Then when she brings it, I'll just spit it out, say, try again. Boom! Alpha dog is right where he belongs, on top.
The rotten bill of goods being sold here is the idea that if a man acts in an aggressive, domineering manner, it will magically make him irresistible to women.
Well, I guess I am new in town.
This notion is laughable on its face, because most people don't actually find it all that romantic to be treated like garbage.
If you're smarter and more interesting, then you will be a better predator.
This
and your
fucking
prey
guy
wants to be
Oh my god, that guy was the
Though
worst
it can
in
be
that
a
episode,
lucrative
though.
grift to tell men they're wild animals, and therefore it's in their nature to run free, avoiding commitment and domestic responsibilities, it simply isn't true. Not for humans, and not for wolves either. And following that path will lead to a life of profound loneliness.
That's what a man is. Solitary, strong, independent. You ever hear of the lone wolf, Carla? Lone wolf. C'est moi. Man alone, needing no one. I touch no one and no one touches me. I'm a rock. I'm an island.
As an aside, you may have heard various internet personalities jabbering on about Sigma males. In this context, Sigma is used to mean a lone wolf, someone who makes his own rules
Sigma
and operates
grindset.
outside of the dominance hierarchy by separating and isolating himself from others.
You know, I like being on my own. I'm better off this way. I'm
Yeah,
a lone
and it's a
wolf.
It's a way for men who are struggling being isolated to be told that actually you being isolated, that's a good thing, okay? Because you're a lone wolf, because you're on your own island. All right, there's power in that. So if you are a man who is lonely, who is seeking community, who is seeking relationships, you're basically being told like, yeah, you don't need anybody. Okay, that's bullshit. You're a lone wolf. That's the Sigma grindset. Okay, you're out here and you're doing your thing. You're doing your thing. Yeah. Are you miserable? Good. Because actually, you're not miserable. That is damaging with isolation, need of human connection. Right. It severs the need for human connection to be like, oh, also, y'all, just to be clear, for videos like this, Pop Culture Detective in particular, he uses a lot of examples from popular culture. He's not using every example in a way where he's like condemning he's not condemning like the film or show that it came from. Like a lot of these examples are characters who are saying these things because it's supposed to demonstrate like how ridiculous they are, etc. So if you watch a video like this, if you watch a video essay like this and you're like, yeah, but that person was actually trying to be facetious, or like, well, this is actually supposed to be a comedy, or oh no, but I love this show, I love this movie. This is not a condemnation. It holds up a mirror to society. Right. It's just using a wide variety of examples from film and television, from drama and comedy, across genres, across decades, to show how prevalent it is. And it just shows how prevalent the trope is. Yeah. Wow.
No, a loner.
I'm a loner,
Alone.
Dottie. A rebel. I'm surprised he didn't include.
Alone.
Yeah, see? Like,
Forever.
Just like the alpha
like
beta
very clearly in that example, Joey is saying, no, I'm good, I'm alone, but he's crying. Like he's about to cry. I can't believe Pop Culture Detective did not include the scene from Pee-wee when he's like, I'm a loner, I'm a loner, Dottie. I'm a rebel.
myth. Sigma male is another completely made-up term with no basis in natural science. In the wild, there's no such thing as a lone wolf. In fact, the only time a wolf is ever really alone is when they're searching for a mate to settle down and have their own family. Wolves are, after all, pack animals. They are fundamentally social creatures, just like human beings.
What's a wolf got to do to get a hug around here?
Men are not born with aggressive, selfish tendencies baked into our DNA.
Yes, that is
Predatory behavior.
That is so important to understand, is like all of these beliefs around human hierarchies, around, oh, well, men are just born misogynistic. No, they're not. People are just, people are born racist. There's just a natural hierarchy. No, that's all constructed. All of these hierarchies, these are all social constructs. Okay? And of course, the alpha male, dominant belief, the mindset of like how to be a man, etc., the hierarchy, the social hierarchy. Of course, this ties back into capitalism, because capitalism relies upon these hierarchies being maintained. This belief that those who own the capital versus those who produce, right? The laborers versus the capitalists, that it is a hierarchy for reasons that are justifiable. That it's like, oh, because the people who are the capital owners, they are smarter and better, and that's why they have more money, and that's why they have more power, and that is why these hierarchies exist, because of just people being at the top, all being better and smarter and stronger. Stronger, better, faster, smarter. Capitalism is the unnatural environment that produces the alpha beta antisocial behavior of the wolves in humans. Right. So they will pretend as if this is something that exists in nature as a way to say, well, this is natural. This is a natural hierarchy. Things can never change because we would be denying our very nature, and it's not true. It relies on the working class to remain divided, mad amongst themselves, which leads to the wealthy getting richer. Right. If you as a working class man are told, look, don't focus your attention on the unfairness of the separation of classes and how you are being oppressed on a daily basis from those who are benefiting from that oppression, and instead look at how you can still dominate others around you, where you don't have to worry. Like your fight here is not with billionaires, it's with other men of your social standing. And it's, as long you keep dominating women, and women will always be below you, right? It's like you're not ever going to be at the bottom because there are others who will be below you. No clue what you just said about men. Well, we're talking about the myth of the alpha male, and we're talking about like the we're talking about the manufactured beliefs around being an alpha male as something that is in human societies, like the hierarchies being natural, being resembling that of the animal kingdom, rather than being socially constructed, rather than being constructed and maintained by those at the top of the hierarchy, because it allows them to maintain power and control. Is being alpha a display of the patriarchy? I mean, it is the patriarchy, but ultimately it is capitalism, and it is the division of, it's the division of the classes, where a capitalistic patriarchal society, in maintaining this dominance over, say, women, that is socially constructed, and that is a way that, capitalism can stay the dominant structure by going to working class men and convincing them that, convincing them that this is the natural hierarchy of things. And as a man, they are not at the level of a billionaire. They are of a lower, they are lower down, but they are the dominators of women. It's like your role in society. It's almost like to placate men by to placate men, enable to allow them, and not just men, of course, women as well, where they will uphold the structure of capitalism by embracing these social hierarchies around gender. Kind of like how whites supported segregation in the past because it meant that even the poorest whites would always have someone to look down upon. Yes. Those in power knew, hey, if the working class, if the poor and the working class come together and realize who their common, who the common enemy is, then we're fucked. But if we create this hierarchy, if we manufacture, if we manufacture these divisions based off of things that are man-made, that are socially constructed, but presented as if it is natural, as if it is of nature, then we can ensure that the poor and the working class will always remain divided because of the gender and race, because of the hierarchies depending upon gender, elements like gender and race.
Natural nor inevitable. It's learned, and that means it can be unlearned. Bell Hooks offers an alternative for men that she calls the partnership model of male identity. A partnership model of male identity would be centered around the notion of an essential goodness that is inherently relationally oriented. Rather than assuming that males are born to aggress, the culture would assume that males are born with an inherent will to connect. Human beings rely on cooperation.
Right, like why would men naturally be born to aggress? They've been socialized as such. That is like the norm in society. Stuart Hall famously said race is the modality through which classes live. The same is true of patriarchy. Yes. I think we have to dispel the myth that men are born violent, that men are born needing to compete with other men and establish dominance, etc. and instead recognize how that is behavior which is socialized into them, that these are myths that are supposedly taken from nature. It's like, look at how these wolves behave, when actually this is not how wolves behave, and adopting that for our own human behavior and pretending as if this is what the science proves. It's like the same guys who will be anti-science in every other regard, then will pull out the science card. They'll pull out the science card when it comes to the science of alpha males.
For practically
There is
everything we
no
do
science
as a
there to
species.
prove.
And since men are human and not some mythological predator, we need reciprocal relationships in order to flourish and reach our full potential. Even though we almost never see it at the movies, men are more than capable of the shared vulnerability and mutual support that provide the foundation for healthy partnerships.
Just having you do so much with the kids, and you're really picking up the slack around here, and I just feel really bad.
Yeah, because I want to. When you and I split up, we agreed we're gonna remain a family no matter what. That's what I'm doing.
I know, and I couldn't do this without you, and I don't want to.
The alpha male myth is so dangerous precisely because it tells men to reject our own sociobiology, to reject our natural needs for connection and community. Hi there, I'm Jonathan, and I make these videos.
God, I love Pop Culture
Now, if you get
Detective.
all
Didn't
the
the guy
way
who
through that
discovered the
one,
alpha
you'll
male
notice
bullshit
that there
debunk it
are
a couple years
lot
later?
of clips,
Yes,
like
he was like,
a
actually,
ridiculous
this is
number
not
of
true. I
clips
retract.
from
I
movies
retract.
and TV shows and so
This
on.
is false.
I spend
These
hundreds of
patterns
hours
within
researching, collecting, and editing together each of
these patterns within the wolf
essays. So if you like what you
species
see and you
are
wanna see more of it, please consider
actually.
going over to Patreon
I must
to support the
amend.
project
I
there.
put out
I've
fake
also got some
info.
links to PayPal and some other ways to help out
I
below.
put out false information, and everyone went,
There are
"Shut
no
up."
ads, and there's no
Hogan,
sponsorship
thank you for the gifted sub.
Everything is funded entirely
When you're
by viewers
poor,
like you.
no, lives
So if you help
matter. The detective has a face and body. Yes, he's done this on his recent videos. Where he pops up at the end and he's like, "Hey, here's my Patreons."
You can follow along.
Pop Culture Detective's amazing. If you don't know his work, he does a lot of videos like this. He's also as you saw, he's a dude, and so he does a lot of videos specifically with an angle on dismantling harmful masculine behaviors that are perpetuated in popular media. So he makes video essays exploring the intersections of politics, masculinity, and entertainment. Very good.